Hi everyone! In today's episode, I'm summarizing the key points and highlights from the McKinney Podcast interview with Scott Sanford about his run for mayor. Full disclosure, I have never met Scott Sanford or Bill Cox. I am just a McKinney resident trying to get to know our mayoral candidates to make an informed decision in our 2025 June 7 election. As I go through the summary, I'll sprinkle some of my own thoughts, and at the end, I'll share my overall take on his responses. Let's jump right in. Why Sanford chose McKinney? Sanford and his wife were drawn to McKinney about 30 years ago due to its proximity to his job. The community's appeal, look and feel, good schools, and friendly neighbors. They saw it as a place to invest their lives, appreciating its suburban charm. Greatest benefits and challenge of growth. Sanford highlighted the benefits of McKinney's growth as the contagious nature of its people, fostering person-to-person relationships that strengthens the fabric of the community. Preventing McKinney from losing its soul. That's something that really concerned Sanford. And to avoid that, Sanford emphasized smart growth over unchecked expansions. He advocated for leveraging assets like downtown, parks, and the community's talent while maintaining vitality and momentum. He stressed reconnecting citizens with the government to prevent a disconnected citizenry from stalling progress. Why Sanford ran for mayor? Sanford felt compelled to run for mayor due to his long history of community service. He mentions volunteering to coach the children's school soccer and basketball with his wife, volunteering for the PTA, school fundraisers, and his involvement with his church. And a conviction that McKinney could use his leadership during a critical time of opportunity. He also mentions that a prayer journey, his background as a CPA, a minister, and a former legislator reinforced his decision, appealing to diverse beliefs. Sanford emphasized treating everyone with respect, viewing each person as a treasure creation created in the image of God, regardless of their beliefs. His experience in the legislature taught him to build relationships and work effectively with people of different perspectives through mutual respect and constructive dialogue. Both candidates had a similar answer, though they didn't ask Bill Cox about his religious beliefs, but both candidates emphasized respect and kindness. And now I have never interacted with either one of the candidates, Cox or Sanford, so I'm just assuming this is true and they actually live out what they preach. But if anybody watching knows them or has interacted with them, please put in the comments your experience. Addressing GOP establishment concerns. Sanford rejected being a pawn for any establishment, noting the fractured nature of the GOP in 2025 and the non-partisan nature of the municipal government. He highlighted his willingness to debate within his own party when necessary, emphasizing his independence. I know that he has served in the legislature before as a Republican and that Governor Abbott endorsed him, but from that to calling him a pawn seems a stretch. I guess either candidate could be a pawn of someone else, but accusing him of being a pawn without any evidence, I don't know, it just seems that because he's open about his political values, that doesn't seem fair. I actually rather know clearly what are the political values of each of the candidates than trying to figure out, well, where does he stand? I'd rather know up front than trying to guess or figure out why he's not clear. Is he hiding something? I particularly didn't care for Abbott's endorsements. I don't think it was necessary. I'd rather the government office stay focused on statewide issues and leave the local government to take care of the local issues. Now, on the other side, I also saw that Bill Cox was endorsed by McKinney Police and McKinney Fire. That leads me to believe that the fire department and the police department are endorsing Bill Cox, which I do not find that positive in any way. I would like to keep my government institutions and departments be completely neutral, not having to think, oh, well, this department endorsed this candidate. What if he doesn't win? Is he going to make things more difficult for the other candidate that did win? It doesn't create more trust in that government institution. I remember when in the previous city where I lived, the biggest local newspaper endorsed one of the local candidates for, I think it was council or mayor, I can't remember right now. See, and it tells you, like, I don't even remember which candidate they endorsed, but because they endorsed that candidate, it just broke my trust in the objectivity of that newspaper when writing articles about the city. What do you think? Put it in the comments. Tactical shift as mayor. Unlike his role as District 70 representative, Sanford plans to empower council members to represent their own district independently, fostering their unique contributions to build consensus and drive city progress. Council expansion to 9 seats. During the interview, James Jenkins asked Sanford if he would support expanding city council from 7 to 9 seats to better represent, he said, the constituents of each district. Sanford found the idea intriguing and worthy of discussion. About this particular point, Jenkins pointed out that the residents east of 75 have interests and needs that are pretty different than the residents west of 75 and above 380. He emphasized the importance of protecting the representation of East Side residents, who make up a smaller portion of McKinney's population. From a voting bloc perspective, Jenkins stressed that ensuring District 1's voice isn't overshadowed by residents also from District 1 who live in areas like Painted Tree and Harding at 380 is critical. This suggestion left me puzzled. Now keep in mind, I'm still new to town. I couldn't pinpoint what specific needs residents east from 75 have that are so distinct from those west of 75 and north of 380. I think we all need to feel safe. We all need safety. We all need that our utilities, water, power, gas work well at all times, and well-maintained roads and parks. And aren't city services available to all residents equally? So what difference is Jenkins referring to? Maybe I misunderstood something. I wish he had mentioned this difference during the conversation. And also, how would more seats help with this? I would understand if he had said District 1 has double the amount of residents than District 2. Therefore, we need to divide it and have extra council members, but the numbers are similar for each district. Correct me if I am wrong. How could one part of District 1 overshadow the voices of another part of District 1? If anyone can shed light on this, please share your thoughts in the comments. Airport expansion concerns. Sanford expressed concern about the proposed passenger terminal at the McKinney International Airport, noting that it could shift the airport from profitable to sustaining losses subsidized by taxpayers. He called for a pause, and I remember him doing this during the debate too, calling for a pause so the incoming mayor have a chance to review the financial projections and understand what is the investment that's really being asked of the taxpayers, and then perhaps re-engage the voters. To me, it seems to imply that there has been a lack of transparency in the current administration and a need for clearer communication, which aligns with his broader theme of rebuilding trust. Sanford does support a yes-no ballot question on the passenger terminal, but prefers the council to have a clearer sense to where the airport is going before proceeding. Good old boy network allegations. Sanford denies any ties to any good old boy network, stating there is little evidence connecting him to entrenched local power structures. His Austin experience has heightened his sensitivity to public policy nuances, not jaded him. Why vote for Scott Sanford over Bill Cox? Sanford emphasized his diverse experience as a CPA, small business owner, and minister, giving him a balanced perspective on numbers and people. He aims to keep property taxes low, reduce retail sales tax leakage, and lead objectively without conflict of interest. Managing the rising cost of housing. Sanford noted an imbalance in development, with apartment units growing 111% from 2012 to 2021 compared to a 35% population increase. He advocates adhering to the McKinney 2040 comprehensive plan to balance multifamily, single-family, and commercial development, preserving zone areas to prevent a hodgepodge city layout. I really like that he brought numbers to his answer. And I learned that there is a McKinney 2040 plan. Then now I have to go and look it up. Contrast with Bill Cox on P&Z decisions. Sanford criticized Cox for supporting multifamily developments that Sanford would have opposed and for not slowing down airport expansion plans. I like his directness. Keeping up with the Johnsons. Sanford didn't see McKinney's developments, such as the water park, as merely copying neighboring cities. He supported attracting businesses that generate sales tax revenue to benefit McKinney's economy and property taxpayers. He views the mayor's role as a cheerleader and recruiter, where at times, he said, will be actively competing against other cities to attract businesses, while at other times, collaborating with them when beneficial. It makes sense to me. I lived in North Carolina before moving here, and I remember one of the marketing strategies in that area was to, instead of market North Carolina and South Carolina, they would market the Carolinas. So we had the Carolina Panthers. So you would have the Carolina Stadium in a North Carolina city, but then they also have training facilities in South Carolina. Another example was Carowinds, a theme park. It was right on the border or in the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. So part of the park was in North Carolina and the other part of the park was in South Carolina. I don't know how they made it work, but it worked. It created collaboration and partnership with the region. I thought that was pretty neat. Engaging ETJ residents and emergency services. Sanford acknowledged the challenge to providing emergency services to extraterritorial jurisdiction residents who don't pay city taxes. He suggested working with the city manager and city council staff to develop a strategy, prioritizing, of course, McKinney residents to avoid overextending budgets. He thinks that emergency services will drive the solution. They all seem to agree on this, but I wasn't clear how would that work. If you have any thoughts on that, any insights, please help me out. Put it in the comments. Legacy as mayor. Sanford wants to be remembered for building trust and communication between citizens and City Hall, ensuring that everyone feels heard and united in their vision for McKinney. Deciding factor for voters. Sanford hopes the voters recognize his authentic leadership, commitment to open communication, and ability to empower and engage the community's best minds for effective governance. That wraps my summary on Scott Sanford's key points from the McKinney Podcast interview. Now let's shift real quick to my overall impression of how it came across. Sanford delivered a strong interview. His answers were clear, concise, and to the point, which I really appreciated. The host, on the other hand, sometimes left me a bit confused about the questions. They even joked about how the questions took longer than the answers. Now, one of the hosts vaguely mentioned allegations against Sanford, maybe made by Mayor Fuller, but didn't provide any details or source that I can go and look at. I did try to look it up online, but I didn't find anything clear. So I'm still unsure of what that was about. The hosts clearly know the local political scene very well, which is great. But as someone like me who is relatively new to McKinney, a little under 3 years here, I'm still catching up. I also didn't hear the host bring up any allegations against Bill Cox on that interview or criticisms. Are there any out there that I should know about? Please put it in the comments. Still, I am thankful to the McKinney Podcast for giving us a window into our candidates and their platforms. I checked out the mayoral debate before watching the individual candidates interview, and definitely Sanford caught my eye out of the rest of the candidates. And after hearing Sanford's individual interview, he's still a strong contender in my book. So right now I am leaning Scott Sanford based on his clarity and his performance. I like that he has a stand. I like that he's clear. I like that he wants clarity, transparency. If you have any thoughts on this, or can clarify those vague allegations, please drop them in the comment. Thanks for joining me in today's episode. I'm just a McKinney resident trying to make an informed choice. And I hope that this helped you get a better sense of the race too. Don't forget to give it a like, share it, and join me next time. See you soon.